Welcome back to PERIDOT TV. As you all know, that SOWOR3 has been in detention for a while now, and the story we heard is that he was being arrested. Apart from the Revolution Now movement, he claimed that he met with a terrorist, and that terrorist is Nnamdi Kanu. Nnamdi Kanu is the leader of the secessionist group IPOB. Nnamdi Kanu has foreign citizenship, British citizenship, and he travels all over Europe. I don't know why he has never been held as a terrorist over there in Europe. Anyway, I'm going to tell you the details of what Nigerian Secret Police DSS said against SOWOR3, a non-violent political activist. The Department of State Service DSS says it suspected that Omoyele SOWOR3, a candidate in Nigeria's last presidential election, wanted to work with the indigenous people of Biafra IPOB and the Islamic movement in Nigeria IMN to topple the government of President Muhammadu Buhari. The federal government have proscribed the two groups, describing them as terrorist organizations. SOWOR3 is known in Nigeria and around the world as a human rights activist and non-violent agitator for democratic ideals. Of course, you've seen pictures of SOWOR3 when he was in school, when he was in Unilag. He has been an activist. He has always been that. He was part of the struggle against military jackboot in Nigeria and has continued to speak against bad governance and oppression in the country. But the President Buhari regime claimed that his opponent SOWOR3 in the February 23rd presidential election was working with two terrorist groups to violently topple his government through the Revolution Now protest. I posted a story yesterday and you saw what happened. Falana was stopped by the police. They were having a summit, organized a summit to discuss the state of the nation, and the police stopped them. So it means any protest, anything that is linked to we do not want this government, we don't know what is happening, they term this as treasonable felony. The DSS said this in an affidavit attached to his counter argument against the application of SOWOR3 challenging his detention. An Abuja Federal High Court had granted the DSS 45 days to keep SOWOR3 in its custody pending investigation into the allegation of terrorism against him. As you know, they requested for 90 days to investigate. Now, I'm wondering, what are they trying to investigate if they already said that he is a terrorist himself, although they've not proscribed him a terrorist, but they say he met with terrorists. Now, what are they investigating again? I believe they are doing this to make sure the president stays where he is. And it's so funny how swift the president moves whenever there is anyone challenging his position. But whenever there is this issues that we have in Nigeria, whenever we have insecurity in Nigeria, and that insecurity has to do with people from the northern part of Nigeria, it keeps mute. SOWOR3 called for a non-violent nationwide protest scheduled for August 5, but was arrested in his apartment in Lagos on August 3rd, just before the Revolution Now protest kicked off. I'm going to read out the affidavit. The respondent, applicant SOWOR3, plan to violently change the government through the hashtag Revolution Now. The respondent appellant hid under the cover of call for mass protest with the hashtag Revolution Now to mislead unsuspecting and innocent members of the public into joining him to topple the government of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. In his plot to topple the government, the respondent/applicant held series of meetings with members. Now they are talking about the proscribed group, indigenous people of Biafra IPOB, with a view to mobilizing strong forces to realize this agenda at changing the government. Now, what do you guys think about this that I've just read out? If the president realizes that people are complaining, shouting, of course there is no government where people will not complain. Even in the United States of America, Donald Trump is, to some Americans, messing up. They see him as a racist president. If you go to Spain, they have issues, they want to break out. Catalonians want to break out from the other parts. And the same thing in the United Kingdom. Scotland wants to break out from the United Kingdom. Wales is also complaining right now, and they say they want to break out too, like they are suffering, they have more poverty in Wales compared to the other parts. And this issue is just everywhere. But in this case, the government does not listen. And why is this thing tough on Nigerians? Why is this problem so tough on Africans? That is because basic amenities have been taken away from them. Most of these leaders do business, steal the money, and keep for themselves. That is why this is becoming tough. So they went further to say the respondent formed an alliance with a fugitive, Nnamdi Kanu, a self-acclaimed leader of the proscribed terrorist group, Indigenous People of Biafra, IPOB, to launch a series of attacks on Nigeria with a view to violently removing the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Now, one wonder, like I said before, how swift, quick, efficient the DSS, the president, is when it comes to this. And one wonder why he wasn't this swift when it came to other things that he was supposed to act on. That tells you that the man knows what he wants for himself. He might have a good heart, like some people claim, like he's trying to fight corruption and some other issues, and he's not a Superman, and at times he has to be careful because he knows he has opposition that might want to create a kind of anarchy in his government. But if President Muhammadu Buhari is smart enough, I believe he would have called all of these guys that wanted to become president, sit them down, talk to them and say, okay, what is your take? Okay, I've won the election, whatever way he won the election. All right, sit down, let's talk. What is the way forward? What do you want to put on the table? If SOWOR3 gives, Nnamdi Kanu gives the idea that he has, and the rest of them, they give the ideas, and he's able to sit down with them alone, and he's able to look at it and apply some of the ideas that have been given to him, I think we will not have problems in Nigeria. And they went further to say, after a series of closed door meetings with a duo in the United States of America, they addressed a press conference wherein they both stated their resolve to form an alliance against the Nigerian government. The duo stated that they have a well-planned strategy to realize their objective, which is toppling the government. Now, some might say SOWOR3 should have associated with IMN, that is Islamic Movement of Nigeria. Islamic Movement of Nigeria, I think I've told you guys what they stand for. They are actually Shiites, and Shiite is connected to Iran. In fact, Iran seems to be the base of Shiite. They have two different groups, different Islamic groups. They have the Sunnis, they have the Shiites, and when you look deep into them, the Shiites have a different political view and also a different religious view that are quite different from other Muslims. Now, that tells you that there is a possibility of the Shiites asking for Sharia and their own kind of government. Why SOWOR3 decided? Why? Probably because the court order, the court ruling was not obeyed by the federal government. And if the federal government will not obey court ruling, why? They are not telling us that this man bribed the judge. They are not telling us that. If they want to come out with facts, let the secret police come out with facts and say, look, this is what we found out. They bribed the judge, that's why we are not accepting this. That's a different thing. But the federal government does not care. That's what they call dictatorial government. So they went further to say the court document added the applicant respondent is investigating the activities of the respondent applicant as it relates to a terrorist organization, IPOB. The facts show a conjecture between the respondent applicant and IPOB activities. There is need for the applicant/respondent to investigate such reasonable suspicion of the relationship between the respondent/applicant and IPOB. The respondent held series of meetings with some foreign collaborators outside Nigeria, including Dubai, where millions of dollars were given to him to sponsor a widespread attack on Nigeria with a view to violently removing the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and freeing Ibrahim El-Zakzaky. Now, they are trying to now put in Dubai El-Zakzaky, meaning some people gave him money in order to free El-Zakzaky. Now, I do not know about that. Similarly, the affidavit claimed in furtherance to the plans to violently free El-Zakzaky from lawful custody. That is their word, lawful custody whereas the courts ruled for bail. They said this man, take him out on bail. The respondent held several meetings with a proscribed terrorist organization, Islamic movement in Nigeria, where they strategized on how to carry out attacks to force the government to free El-Zakzaky. The respondent stated in one of his videos that Shiite members who are members of the proscribed terrorist group IMN were going to join forces with him to bring down the government. The statement and the meeting of the respondent/applicant raised the issue of grave suspicion of supporting a proscribed terrorist organization, IMN. The suspicions require diligent investigation by the applicant/respondent. The planned action constituted a threat of violence to intimidate or cause panic in members of the public as a means of affecting political conduct. The investigations is still ongoing. Upon completion of the investigation, the case file will be forwarded to the Office of the Attorney General of the Federation for advice and possible prosecution. Now, from the look of things, there is a possibility, if care is not taken, that this young man, SOWOR3, will not be out of jail. He will not be out of prison. He will be in detention, just like El-Zakzaky. That is what the federal government is up to. They found a way to push out IPOB, and they proscribed them a terrorist group. Nnamdi Kanu cannot step his feet into Nigeria right now. He will be put in prison, and he might not be coming out. So he knows that too. Now, this man, they've roped him into this also, and they've attached him. Now the problem is this: he spoke out too soon. Probably he wanted to garner support from people. He mentioned publicly that IMN is going to be part of this, and so you should know somehow that there's a possibility of IMN being proscribed as a terrorist group, just like IPOB proscribed as a terrorist group. Now we realize that they've not proscribed the bandits, the Fulani herdsmen, all the rest of this Miyetti Allah were never proscribed terrorist group. In fact, the president was seen in America saying no, they carry sticks. That tells you what we are facing in Nigeria. I don't know what's going to come out of this. So what's your opinion about it? Let's put that in the comment section. If you have not done so, tap on that subscription button, and also do not forget, very important, to tap on that notification, the red notification icon bell below, so you will be notified whenever new videos are uploaded. Thanks for stopping by.